Okay. Got to find the right distance from my larynx. Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order, Dennis. And I'll give my report. As I said, we'll have more time for those of you that want to purchase equipment. I came modeling this. Not sure whether they're selling that. This is for tomorrow, obviously, green. And this is for Saturday, which is?
St. Joseph.
Well, it's the first day of spring. I was really trying to be a little more ecumenical. But looking forward to spring. And then tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. It's exciting. We're going outside. We're starting to get away from the various COVID protocols and restrictions. We're emerging gradually. We had a decent indoor season relative to that, a complete one anyway. So that's exciting. And then we've got other stuff that's new. As you all know, we have a new commissioner. Many of us, certainly those of us that are only 10 years or so into the organization, have never known another commissioner other than Michael. Steve Knapp planned on March 3rd, and right now he's wrestling alligators in the Everglades, and we'll hopefully see him back. I'm sure he'll be back, and he wanted me to be sure to tell people that if you haven't signed up yet on the new system, it's online, it's going to be online, you're going to get your assignments. Ann tells me...
I'm right here. So you should all be getting an email pretty soon that will have your all of your assignments for the whole season. It's forthcoming, hopefully by the end of the week.
So Ann has been instrumental in helping Steve get that set up. But if you haven't done it yet, please do so. And even if you have done it, the good news is we're heavily engaged in late April and May. The bad news is we're still a little short. So give a look at your schedules for the various dates. And if you've got a little more time later on, just like I said, late April and early May, there's a lot going on. So he'll appreciate it, and it's going to take a little bit of sorting out to be going from the old way that we did it, which was the way I would have done it. Write it out, send it in, write it back, and send it back. Now we're going to do it electronically, which is the way people are doing it everywhere at this point. If we do it, well, we ought to be able to bill faster because everybody's hours will get reported more quickly to Donnie, and he can get the invoices out. We get paid quicker, you get paid quicker. That's how that'll work. So we're excited about the changes, but it's going to take a little bit of sorting to have that follow up. Another change that we had is for new memberships. Brian Moody has been doing that for the last 7 or 8 years. There were a couple of empty chairs up here. As usual, the empty seats are in the front, but you can move the chair if you want.
Behind the curtain is a whole raft of chairs. Yeah. Behind the curtain.
Jeff Blonder is now doing the new memberships testing and so forth. So that's another change. And with the new commissioner on the agenda, you see a bylaw change which we'll discuss at the June meeting. The June meeting is going to be on Wednesday, June 15th. We moved it to the Wednesday, and again, the host will be Erwin Cohen at the Old Colony Yacht Club, which we've used multiple times in the past. but we thought Wednesday would be a better day because if there's a state meet Thursday, Saturday kind of combination, we avoid losing the people that would otherwise come. So that's why it's Wednesday, June 15th for the banquet. And at that time, we'll vote on this bylaw change. In the bylaws, this is boring, I know. The commissioner's term used to run like everybody else's, October 1 to September 30th, and in the end, that doesn't make any real sense. If you're going to try to do cross-country, it should start sooner. It's not, September 1st isn't a good, October 1st isn't a good time to start for any of that. So we'll do June 30, July 1, June 30 on that. Next was the MSTCA report on how that's gone. I think in general, it's gone very well. For anybody that worked 4.5 or 5 hours at any of the MSTCA meets, you made as much or more than in the past. The people that didn't do as well maybe were the people that did the shot put at Reggie, because with 2 circles, you maybe didn't even get 3 hours. The MSTCA, realizing that, said, doesn't matter, we'll give you a minimum of 3. And we, executive decision, aren't deducting anybody if you only worked 3 hours for $90. There was no deduction for the commissioner fee or administrative fee. Worked out pretty well. Outdoors, the expectation is all those meets go 5 hours or more, and we'll see. We're going to evaluate at the end. I talked with Matt Carr, who is the MSTCA indoor contact person. He was pretty happy from their end with how things went. And Ann, again, helped Michael a lot with keeping up the, not sure exactly how it worked, but he'd call her and say, here's who's assigned, and she'd fill in the blanks on the computer. So, but Matt was fairly happy with that. And as part of that, something that they instituted, but that we're going to try to do for all of our mates, is put a definite start time in. So the time, whatever your event is, or your area, there's going to be a start time on the left-hand column. And that's when the clock starts. So you want to be there by then, but that's when the clock starts, and then we're computing how much you earned. All the referee has to do is fill in when you left. And that'll just, as I said earlier, be all electronic. So hopefully that works as smoothly as we hope that it will. As long as we have Ann helping, it can't be a problem. But so that's how all of that's going. I spoke with Mike Miller, who's at Weymouth, and he's their MSTCA outdoor liaison, or that's his job, is running those meets, their meets. How many do we have of those, Donnie?
15 and 20.
So somewhere between 15 and 20 MSTCA meets in the spring. They asked for 20 or more folks for each of their meets. But Mike was also excited about getting the 2 groups back together again. So he was very positive about that. And many of you probably know that they had a change of leadership at the top. Jim Fletcher, who's also a member of this group, was their president until, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or so. And he decided to exit stage left. And so now Linda Robotham is, she's from Western Mass, is now the MSTCA president. That happened, like I say, about 3 weeks ago. Other executive board activity was, we were busy with a variety of things that had to do with, some of it had to do with our, assignment of meets and how the MSTCA thing was going to work. The other things were sort of relative to specific individuals and the names. Not going to mention the names to protect the innocent, so we'll just sort of leave that by. I talked about the banquet. Input, as I said, we're going to meet with the MSTCA people at the end of the year, both Mike and Matt mainly. If you have observations, and a couple of people have done this already, and one upshot of that is we've got to have consistency, and having the start time right on the assignment sheet, so you know when your clock is starting. It'll be consistent for everybody. That's the idea. Some people had said, show up at this time or that time. It's when your clock starts. There's been a little bit too much uncertainty about how many hours did I work and how many am I getting paid for or whatever. See if we can get that going. And for me, I think that's it. Oh, thank you, Dennis. I need on the minutes from the December meeting, which we had at Tufts, I need a motion to accept. Chad? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? We okay, Dennis?
Sounds great to me.
Thank you. I'm sorry I did it out of order.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. As of 5 minutes ago, we've had 257 members in good standing, those that have paid their dues this year. I want to thank everybody that's done that. Those that have listened to me maybe for the last couple of years might remember that our magic number is 260. When we reach about 260, we break even. So we're pretty much there. Our balance, for those that have this, our balance at the end of February was $81,000. Soon after that, I wrote a check, or my wife and I wrote a check run for $44,000. And we are sending out another one tomorrow for about $25,000. The check run going out tomorrow will get you through February 20th. And then next week we'll do the last check run, which will finish off the indoor season. We only have a couple big expenses moving forward. My stipend, which I usually take at the end of the year, and the insurance that covers us each and every year in case one of you is hurt or someone gets injured as a result of something we've done. Both of those usually get paid out somewhere around July. Again, I want to just reiterate, we've only had about 90 people send Steve Knapp interest in working some of our meets, and we have 257 of you, so please, if you have any availability, send them to Steve. And I have one more very simple request. If I send you a check, please deposit it or cash it. I have a lot of checks that are over 6 months old, and it really makes it quite a challenge to balance the books every month. Also, people are losing checks and are calling me to say that the check that I gave them 6 months ago has disappeared, and can I send another one? And that's fine, but with the bank charges us to stop payment on checks, and I don't like doing things twice if I can avoid it, so please cash those checks and please don't lose them. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. I didn't realize that many of us were independently wealthy.
Yeah.
Just checks laying around.
How do you think we can afford to do this?
Yeah. So the commissioner's report, I sort of already gave. So I'll reiterate, and Donnie just did. If you haven't signed up yet for the spring, please do. And if you're not fully booked yet, think about adding another meet or 3 or 7 on weekends that fit your schedule. Steve, I told us.
In light of that, can we emphasize the May 21st date? I don't know where we're at on that. Steve is definitely still looking for some people. Where's the MSTCA meet down here? Norwell? I think on May 21st, there's a meet at Norwell, so that's down here in this region. He still needs 8 or 9 people for that. We have been contacted by St. Paul's School in Concord to do the
New England. Private school.
The New England Championship meet for the
Private schools.
independent private schools. So at this point, we probably would have.
Didn't you leave out a meet?
Huh?
Didn't you leave out a meet?
Yeah, and then I have the MVC meet, which I probably could use 2 or 3 more folks for that too. But I could get by if we needed to swing anybody that signed up at this point to the.
May 7th
But
is
we
gonna-
need to know about the St. Paul's one sooner than later.
And May 7th, there's a MSTCA meet, which is pretty well subscribed. And that's also one of John Carroll's favorite meets, right, John, May 7th? Or I saw him here. What's May 7th? It's in the evening.
The Western Twilight.
The Western Twilight. John likes waxing eloquent at that meet. And I guess some people do double duty. Many people apparently do double duty on that. Okay. Steve, Bitonis, you want to give a brief or whatever you need USATF report? Dennis put it on your agenda.
Okay, for those of you who are USATF certified, they're like a lot of organizations right after recertification began in 2020, the numbers were really down, and they were through the end of 21, but there are now 150 plus USATF certified officials in New England. We're looking to put on another in-person recertification clinic for anybody who hasn't redone for this Olympiad. The certification for USATF is in 4 years during the Olympiad 2021 through the end of 24. Those of you who are interested in becoming certified can contact me, and that clinic will also be for those individuals. A lot of events, as we know, seem to be coming back faster and with more volume than we maybe can handle. But when you go beyond the high school and college events, some of the post-collegiate or youth events, while they've been put back onto schedules, the hard part is getting facility access and rentals. The outside groups, the colleges are still not fully opening up facilities, and the negotiations are a little longer to get those activities. So for those of you who have worked our Open Meet or the Junior Olympics, we still don't have sites for those, though we're moving forward on both of them. And there's also going to be some Eastern Mass, there's going to be some new youth meets, which are growing, and we're glad to see. Those youth meets, not only are they good introductions for the youth themselves to the track and field, it's a good way for newer officials to learn how to work with the very basics of officiating. And you'll find a lot more learning goes on at those meets. If you go to the elite level meets, the national championships, nothing happens there. It's very routine because everybody knows what to do. You go to a youth meet that's for ages 8 to 14, you got to point them in the right direction. You have to let them know that, no, the starting blocks that are there, you can adjust them. Everybody doesn't use the same positions. So our USATF Youth Chair has a series of events in late May and June. They'll be at Hormel Stadium in Medford, Saturdays and or Sundays. And I was in a meeting last week with Boston Parks, the BAA, and USATF are going to work with the Boston Running Collaborative, which is youth clubs primarily in the city of Boston to put on the first youth meets in many years in the city. And we're sorting out the locations for them, the number of the events. But those type of lower level events are going to be returning, and we'll get that news out with the newsletter when they are finalized.
Thank you, Steve. Another thing I should have done at the beginning, before I even asked for a motion to approve the minutes, was to thank Steve Kiley for arranging with the people here at Wheaton for us to be able to convene here. And they were, as they have been in the past, gracious about that, so I need to thank Steve for arranging it, and them for Wheaton for allowing us to have the meeting. And the reason for the change from the 3rd to today was this is the week that they're on spring break, which is just easier for them. So what I'm going to do right now is ask Steve to talk to them about next year to find out when the break is, so that we'll try to set up the date in advance so we don't have to change it. So I'm thankful to him, them, and all of you for changing your schedules and being here. I don't think I have anything else under new business, unless somebody has something they want to raise, because it's on the thing. Bob?
Just in the theme of needs, on behalf of the Catholic Central League and Brian Van Dorp, who couldn't be here, they have quite a number of Tuesdays, mostly, that they're looking for officials for their dual season, and they run the gamut of locations: Braintree, Reading, Bishop Ian and Attleboro, close by, Manning Field in Lynn, and in Peabody. It was on the last email blast. Brian had the specific dates and times, so if you have an interest, he'd be happy to have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. What we planned for the remainder of the time is 2 clinics, and we'll divide in half. Steve Keys is going to lead a clinic in horizontal jumps, and Steve Kiley and I are going to ham and egg a clinic on, meaning tag team, I guess would be a better way to say it, on umpiring. Relative to the umpiring, I got from Keith Brulard, who's the MIAA representative now that we deal with for all of the MIAA meets. There were a number of instances during the divisional meets where better or more alert umpiring might have been helpful. So I think we're going to take like half the group, maybe from here over. Steve and I will work on the umpiring, and Steve Kiley was with me, Steve Keys, too many Steve K's, Steve Knapp, I mean, come on, over there at the long jump pit. What? Yeah, thank you. David didn't realize there's a silent K in Knapp. Just an effort at humor. So, yeah. Okay, so all of you, I think, that are sitting from me or Kevin over that way, where do you want to start, Steve?
Finish line.
Finish line? And
I know somebody was looking for an XL pullover. Whoever that was, we have found one. You want to come?
And David and his son Jacob will be here with the equipment. So if you want to buy something, do so. Go ahead, Tom. Do we want to do that, Steve? Have everybody take their chair and put it back there, or
That would be
who
fine,
set them
yeah.
up?
Basically, we set them up, so yeah, we had some chairs back there, some chairs were here, and